So obviously the Browns played a game this week, so we're just going to jump right into it. Don't want to spend a ton of time on the game. We're going to kind of combine the joint practices with the game all in one because
some news and notes from the last couple of days, whatever.
Just because I think honestly the joint practices might tell us more than what that game actually told us.
Well, and that's something, and it might have been Joe Thomas during the broadcast. I'm not sure. One of the guys mentioned that this was actually like game 3 between the Browns and Giants that week. So yeah, I think the game, and we got some comments and stuff during the game on Patreon, like, does this game seem a little slower to you guys, a little more stale? And it's like, yeah, these guys have been with each other all week, and I think that did have something to do with it.
I mean, I think they were just kind of tired of seeing each other. Like, I think they were tired of seeing each other after the first day. Well, at least the Giants. And then obviously the Browns, got beat up the second day by the Giants. So I think it got, tensions were a little high all week at camp and at the game, I think.
Plus in the game, it was for anybody who wasn't there, it was miserable hot.
It was very hot.
It was so hot. If you were on the side of the stadium I was on, people literally just taking their clothes off in the stands, just sitting there shirtless, just stripping. It was miserable. So and the players felt that. And to be honest, no starters really played. So, I mean, I think you have to look more at that first and second day of joint practice. And if you haven't heard, the Browns came out and just straight dominated the Giants the first game, and then we got our shoved in the second day. So, we were 1-1 with the Giants. Tiebreaker was the game we won. My biggest takeaway from the joint practices with the Giants in that game, the Giants are going to be way better than the Jaguars. The Jaguars are as bad as we thought they were. Because, and as again we saw in their second game, they are going to suck hard.
Yeah, they're not going to be good.
It's going to be bad. But some takeaways from the game, Demetric Felton is a baller.
Mm-hmm. 6th round pick. What a pick.
He looks like he's going to be a steal. And it's he's doing some things and being so active to the point where he's going to force the coach's hand. He's going to have to get playing time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we were really excited to see Anthony Schwartz here in the preseason.
Yeah.
And we haven't gotten to, and it's like, okay, I mean, we've got wide receiver spots kind of open, and now you got the 6th round pick Felton out there running the ball, catching the ball, running these routes. I mean, he like we said last episode, he's not the biggest guy, but he looks tough and strong out there, you know?
His punt returns, he's shifty in the punt returns. He always seems to make something out of nothing.
Yes.
In the return game, he's extremely versatile. I've been super impressed with everything I've seen from him from when we were at training camp to the first game and now through the second game. I think we got ourselves a player there, and we kind of talked early in the offseason like it was going to be him or Dearness Johnson. Mm-hmm. I think they're both on this team easily.
I think Johnson is the kind of like the de facto third, string running back. Like if something were to happen to Hunt or something, it'd be Johnson. Mm-hmm. And then I think Felton's going to be that all-around gadget guy, like line up in the slot, line up in the backfield.
I'm not going to call him Percy Harvin, but I could see us using him in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Percy Harvin was special.
Sure.
I'm not saying, but I see him. We could use him in that kind of way.
And who knows? Maybe in 10 years we'll be saying, "Hey, they're going to use this guy like a Demetric Felton."
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, 6th round picks have, they've shown up before.
You see him kind of evolving too, like out of that. Like we thought maybe he was just going to be a receiver. Like he outcarried Johnson last, at the game. He had eight carries. I mean, he was the guy out there on Sunday. He was the main guy.
You could tell that they talked about it early in the week that they wanted to get him some RB reps, and you could tell they stuck to that plan for the game.
Yep.
I think Dearness Johnson, if he was on another team, he would be another team's too.
Yeah.
No doubt.
He looks great.
Yeah, he looks really good. So, I mean, it's almost like an embarrassment of riches for the Browns offense.
It's so weird to say that, isn't it? It's like, is this real life?
I think it is. I think
so.
One thing I do want to touch on, a guy who's been making a splash in camp and in this game, he saved Kyle Luletta from an interception on a sweet catch. But what's his first name? Davis.
Davian?
Yeah. Davian. Suspended for 2 games. And wait for something he did in 2019.
Yeah, I know. We kind of came in here talking about it like, what'd he do? What'd he get hit with? And it was nothing recently.
Yeah, I mean, it was a DUI. You don't want to get DUIs, obviously.
Right.
Not that I'm speaking from experience, but but it was 2 years ago, and I'm just guessing with the COVID stuff, courts just kept getting pushed back, and then it just now got resolved, and now it's costing him. Now I'm hoping it doesn't cost him. I don't know if he's going to make this team just because we have so many people. Yep. I don't know if there's room for him, but he's made a name for himself for sure. He's earned something somewhere.
He's going to be on a team.
Well, the thing is, be on a team. And we talked about this, Justin, I think before you got here tonight, we got a message on Patreon saying, hey, did you see the Davion Davis thing? Do you think he gets cut now before the season? And then I just read a tweet that said, since he goes on the suspended list, he actually will not count against the 53-man roster for the first 2 weeks of the season. So we could keep him for weeks 1 and week 2 and just kind of see, like, you never know. I mean, what if Higgins or Hodge or somebody goes down with an injury in those first 2 weeks? Well, you still got Davis on the roster for free, basically, as far as not adding to the roster space. He's doing so well that I think if we try to stash him on the practice squad, somebody will sign him.
Absolutely.
I haven't looked into the rules to see if – I think last year there was protected players that you could put there that couldn't get taken away because of COVID. I don't know if it's the same this year, but if there's no way we can put him on the practice squad and expect him to be there. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know how that all works with practice squad players and stuff like that, but I think that if he's not secured like to a contract, he's going to end up making a team somewhere else.
For sure.
He's done well for himself.
For sure. I think we didn't see Donovan Peoples-Jones that much in the game. That tells me that they've seen enough out of him in camp, and he's kind of solidified. I mean, he's going to be on the field a lot this year, I think, as much as like a third wide receiver. He's going to split wide receiver 3 duties with Higgins. Yeah, and they were running so many different receiving options through this game, tight ends, receivers, running back. I mean, Stanton was at tight end some. So I think he started the game. He played a little bit in the beginning, and like you said, it was hot that day too. It was so hot. It sucked. I still haven't cooled down. So I don't think they wanted to burn anybody out in a preseason game, especially a guy that okay, we're going to be using this guy this year. So before we move on from this, do you want to see starters at some point? So injuries. Are injuries starting to concern you? Because they're starting to concern me a little bit. Well, we can talk about a couple of those things because when did Anthony Walker get hurt?
What, 2 weeks ago? When his knee injury? The knee?
Yeah.
About 2 weeks ago. It was like the first day of practice, I thought. Or training camp.
Greedy went out a few days ago at camp, but that was a migraine. So it wasn't anything. But then he just pulled a hamstring in the game.
Yeah, in the game he pulled.
He pulled a hamstring. Well, that's great. And I feel like every Browns player that gets hurt, it's the hamstrings. Do we not stretch? What the hell are we doing? It's Myles Garrett hamstring, Delpit hamstring, Greedy. Wasn't Clowney have something too? Or? Yeah, I think so. I think can we get some straight leg pull downs or something?
I guarantee you there's like a strength and conditioning coach in Cleveland at Berea. I don't know his name or her name personally, but I'm pretty sure that they probably have multiple people that are in charge of that. But maybe maybe it's almost like a Bill Belichick thing where it's like, my leg kind of hurts a little bit. So automatically,
that's what I'm kind of hoping.
I'm not saying you're protecting people, but like, I don't think it'd probably be, if it was very serious, we'd probably know about it. They wouldn't even be out there.
I'm kind of thinking that too, I hope. But I think we need to see starters a little bit. I mean, Patrick Mahomes just played, a quarter or a half? Tom Brady played. They're still football players. I understand we don't want to risk injury, but what if we're so worried that they're going to get injured? Can we even count on them to play in regular season games? If we don't think they can get through one drive of a preseason game, what's going to happen if we put them out there in the first regular season game? They're all going to shatter? So I kind of noticed looking through the league games this weekend, not a ton of start. There were quite a few teams that opted to keep their starting players off. So that makes me think that game 3 is going to be kind of that dress rehearsal like it used to be. There's just no game 4 after that because there's almost like, a 10, 11 day gap between the end of the preseason now and the start of the regular season. So to tune them up in this game, now you're making it like a 2.5 week gap before they see game action again. So maybe Stefanski's just waiting a little bit closer. Maybe they'll get a drive or two. I think it says good things that he's that confident in the offense that he's like, I'm not pushing it right now. I mean, I get it. I just don't. And I get if we lose week 1, we're just 0-1. But, man, I'd really like to win. And I would for sure like to be competitive. And I don't want to go out there and get the brakes beat off of us. And it's like, well, the starters haven't played in 12 months, so they're rusty. Well, that's why we just had a whole offseason.
Yeah.
So I don't want that excuse.
I'd like to see if they play against Atlanta. Is it this Sunday night?
I think so.
I'd like to see if they play any time at all. If they don't, I'm just going to chop it up to, well, hey, I trust Stefanski.
And that's the thing, too.
I mean I'm not going to.
Coach of the year.
Yeah. I'm not going to be like, oh, that's, I'm not going to second guess the guy. It's his team. Obviously, I'm not an NFL head coach, so I can't.
I'm going to trust him. It just, that's my opinion is I would like to see him a little bit. If he doesn't think so, he's the one who's there every day. And for once in our lives, we have a coach that I trust. So I got to go.
Yeah. And I mean, he's there every day. They're at training camp every day, going through practice, doing the reps. And I mean, starters were out there against the Giants at practice. So I don't know. Yeah, it would be nice to see them as a fan, but I see
both sides.
There's no chance of them getting hurt during the game if they're not on the field.
If they rolled Nick Chubb out there Sunday and he tore his ACL, we would be spending an hour talking about how stupid Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, we didn't need him out there. We knew he was really good.
And so it's real easy to be here Monday and talk about. I
guess I want to see the line, Baker, and a couple receivers and see some rhythm.
Yeah.
I guess that's, even if it's not Odell, Jarvis.
You won't see Odell.
I'd like to see Baker, the line, because I don't want to see Baker play behind a second string line.
No.
I'd like to see Baker, the starting line, and then let's give him Higgins, DPJ, and, and see how he does. Yeah, Felton in Njoku.
Yeah, Njoku.
And it's just, even if it's just a drive, just to try to build some chemistry, shake the rust off a little bit.
Now, that's something real quick as a side note, just if anyone hasn't been paying attention to the notes out of camp, David Njoku is reportedly the top tight end in camp right now.
Thank God for my fantasy team.
Yeah.
Thank God for the Browns.
Yeah.
Before your fantasy team.
It'd be great if he's awesome because I think we're all fans of him as the person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So, and it's just reported too, he fired his agent again. And people were like, he's going to try to demand another trade again. And it's actually the opposite. He fired his agent because he wants his agent to try to get a deal done with the Browns. He wants to stay in Cleveland.